And we are live on Powerhouse Sports tonight, baseball edition. First time we've been on the show since, I guess, football season. But I had to bring this group of guys on here, a special group out of Alberta. I think, without a doubt, Coach Davis, you might agree, one of the best teams Alberta has probably ever seen baseball wise, making their
Yes,
first ever
sir.
appearance in the semifinals for baseball. And Coach Davis has brought two of his great players with him, Jackson Owen and Brady Harrison. And Coach, I'm going to start off with you. Let's kind of talk about this season and this group that you have at Alberta.
Yeah, we're 26-8 on the year. As always, I like to play a tough schedule. That way, our kids are prepared. When we do get to playoffs, and this year was no different. So, they've done a great job. I think this group has really grown up since last year. Got a lot of seniors and juniors, and a few freshmen and a sophomore sprinkled in there. Like I said, they have competed their butts off every time we've been on the field, and it's just been a joy to watch, really.
And Coach, a lot of people were not talking about this team in the preseason. I know throughout the year I started seeing some buzz. They, started giving you guys kudos. I saw Brady Harrison. He won Player of the Week several times for the Optimist Club in Mobile. But let's kind
Mm-hmm.
of talk about this team and when I started getting recognition. Do you think it was, I guess, too late in the game, or do you think this team was overlooked coming into the season?
I mean, I wouldn't say we were overlooked, but I don't think anybody expected us to do, what we have done just because of our track record, honestly. I mean, we hadn't shown that we can win the big games in the playoffs in the last couple of years. So, um, and I knew we had the talent to do it. It's just, finding that will and the want to. And uh, these guys have grown up, like I said, and you know, we get down or we get behind or something bad happens, it's not the end of the world anymore. It's just move on to the next pitch and let's make it happen after that. Like I said, Brady was the pitcher of the week a few weeks ago. He's had a great year. I think he's 11-2 on the year with ERAs below one. Um, we also had Landon Adams, one player, or hitter of the week or player of the week, as well as Bryce Brooks, and probably have three or four more that could have won that as well. We're I think our team ERA is like a 2.8 right now, and I think our batting average, it was 3.22 going into last week. It went down a little bit to I think 3.15, but that's something we have not had since I've been at Elberta. Just as far as the team statistics go, and just being consistent, throughout the lineup and throughout the pitching rotation and guys in the bullpen. So
And talk about this playoff run. So I think Demopolis. I talked to some of the guys, get their opinion on it. So they feel like Demopolis was kind of the game where they kind of gelled more together and kind of got them to where they are now. But the Demopolis series was back and forth. Talk about that
mhm.
series y'all had at home, and I know I saw pictures. The crowd, it was packed out. I think the whole town of Alberta showed up, and it's going to be even better tomorrow. But talk about
Oh
the
yeah,
Demopolis series, and then we'll move to Marbury here in a second.
yeah. Demopolis was a really good team. They had two really quality arms that we saw. Both were mid to 87 ish, mid 80s to 87 or so, and threw a lot of strikes and made you compete. Brady threw a really good game one. I think it kind of played into our favor that you're familiar with it, Andrew. Our field is huge, and uh, if teams aren't prepared for that, then their swings don't change. It's not going to be a home run. It's going to be a fly out at our field. So like I said, Brady threw really well game one. We found a way to scratch a couple early and just played really good defense behind him. And then game two was, we had Aiden Ramey on the mound, who's been, really good as well. I think he threw a one or two hitter through his 6 2/3 that he threw that game, and then we brought Landon Adams in to throw an inning. I think he threw an inning and a third, and then Kevin Jones came in and finished it up. We just had some had some really timely hits, and some things kind of went our way that propelled us into that. I think it was a 6 or 7 run inning there in the top of the ninth in that second game, and that kind of, once that happened, it pretty much sealed the deal.
And Coach, I saw a quote from you. I forgot who posted an article about it, but you guys found yourself some spots, kind of some tough situations throughout the year. Y'all get behind maybe like Marbury 5-0 or some cases like that. But how does your team rally, even though they're down, even late in the game? They found the composure to be able to stay locked in and kind of have some clutch moments, be able to seal the deal in some of these close games.
Yeah, like I said, I think it has a lot to do with just maturity. Like I said, I've got a veteran group that have been to the playoffs every single year and just hadn't found a way to get past that first or second round. I think they did their freshman year. They went to the second round, and since then we've been right there on the cusp. Like Sylacauga 2 years ago, we had 2 one-run games that could have gone either way and just didn't go our way. We couldn't find a way to get it done. And then again, last year we went to Valley, a really good Valley team that had a left-handed pitcher that was 94-95, and we knocked him out of the game in the 6th inning, and we're up. I think we were up 4 or 5, right, Brady?
Yes, sir. 7-3.
7-3 going into the bottom of the 7th. Need 3 outs to get a win, and we just could not find a way to get it done. And that's been the difference this year. Like even first round against Eufaula, we go down 4-0 in the first inning, and they fight back. I think we scored 2 or 3 in the bottom of the first, and then after that it was over. They put their heads down and went to work and got it done. That's, like I said earlier, I think they just they've had some adversity and they've handled it really well, and I think it just doesn't get to them like it has in the past couple of years. Where they start getting tight and they just keep playing.
And I do want to say this for a second. If you're an Elberta fan or you're supporting these guys, comment below and let us know you're watching. And like and share as well for some people that might not be able to see it, to watch these guys and watch this coach talk about their team. And Brady, I'm going to ask you this question because, you've been in Alberta now, your whole life playing baseball. So this community, you see it on Friday nights to the football field. Now it's translated to baseball. I've seen it personally, just how packed out these games can be, how rowdy it can get. What has the community support been like for you guys this year and also in the playoffs? And what do you expect it to be tomorrow night as y'all host the first ever semifinal game in Alberta?
I just expect it to be everybody to show up tomorrow night. It's been crazy. I mean, just to see how many fans, how much our community cares about us. They really made an impact in the Marbury series. They made an impact in the Demopolis series. I mean, just how loud they are. Our student section, they even brought a fan bus up to Marbury. They got pretty rowdy. It was pretty cool, but it was just loud. I mean, I feel like they really had an impact. I mean, I feel like we know that they were going to be loud, but the other team, I mean, it's rough for sure. Just all the noise they made.
And Jackson, I've seen some pictures of you, some pretty incredible electric pictures of you on from the Demopolis series, and a lot of the guys that they feed off your energy. Let's talk about how, I guess, you energetic you get and how much of a competitor you are and how much is meant to you or how much is meant to you this year being a part of Alberta baseball.
Yeah, 100%. I think every time we go on the field, in my mind, it's just we're competing against the other team. It's me against the guy on the mound in the box, or, it's me and Brady if he's on the mound against the guy in the box and on defense. So, coming to Alberta this year, I felt so welcome, and being able to compete with the group of guys that we have, I feel like we can compete against any team in the state. And, I feel like going into this season, nobody really thought that, but we've proved that we're able to compete with anybody and beat anybody at any time.
And Jackson, you hit a clutch double, as I recall from last week. Talk about those moments in Marbury. I know, game 2, y'all win up there in Marbury, and that was a game 3. You had a rain out, so you had to push it back to Monday. What was it like in the locker room? And then going into Monday, what was y'all's mentality facing those guys up there in their house?
Yeah, I think on Friday that we were all relaxed, we were ready to play, and unfortunately we got rained out on Saturday, but we knew that the next game going into it, we had to compete with them, and we were going to put our guys out there and put it all on the line. Our season was on the line, and so we had to compete to be able to beat them, and we knew that we could get the job done, so we just played our game and got it done.
And Brady, I'm gonna throw it over to you. You get to go into the next level. Go to Chat Valley. Congrats to you. I know you get to fulfill your dream of college baseball. But this season has probably been one of your best seasons so far. It's senior year, so it's kind of fitting. What's it been like so far this season? Compete with these guys at Elberta, and it's an historic season, no doubt. Being able to host a semifinal game.
I think it's awesome. I'm actually going to Chat Valley with him and KC, but it's just awesome. I mean, I feel like mainly I've pitched so well because of my defense. I mean, I'm not a guy that's going to strike a ton of people out, but my defense mainly. We've had a few guys step up, especially in the outfield, step up big time, and just hold it down out there.
And Coach Davis, Brady just mentioned a few of them: Kevin Jones, Bryce Brooks, obviously Brady, Jackson, Landon Adams, the big anchor at first base. You have a strong veteran group. What has that meant to you this year? Obviously, some adversity has helped you tremendously. But as far as experience goes, how much has that helped you this year? And also some young guys being able to play, that mentorship that they've had.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's been huge. That's been the biggest difference. I think outside of Jackson coming in, he brings a different perspective that and these guys accepted him just about immediately, and he's done a great job behind the plate. I hadn't called a pitch all year, um, and I'm not starting tomorrow either, Jackson. So don't think that. Um, but yeah, this group is just like I said. They've come to work every single day. You never have to worry about them doing something they shouldn't be doing or not being where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. So it's just been really refreshing. You know, like I said, the younger guys, the ones that have played a really big role for us have been Carson Watts at second base, and then obviously Bryce Brooks at shortstop. If there's a better shortstop out there, it's going to be tough to find. Just makes some incredible plays, and he's very consistent defensively, and he's starting to swing the bat really well too. So, like I said, they're just a veteran group, and they have found a way to get the job done. Where in the last couple of years, it's just kind of been we've come up just a little short, and this year it hadn't been that way so far.
And Coach, everybody has their perspective on the season, and a lot of coaches have the game, and it's always the game that they know. Okay, these guys are locked in. This group is special, and it's kind of a game where they've grown. What was that game for you this year as y'all are heading down this path of semifinals?
Whew. Oh man, I tell you, I think we played Alma Bryant kind of early in the year, and play them every year because he just does a great job over there with that program, and their kids always compete, and they beat us down. And I think at that point in the season, we needed that just to kind of bring us back down, because I think we were on a 4 or 5 game winning streak to start the year. And then the same week, actually, we went and played Bayside and beat Bayside at Bayside. And then we went to Central Phoenix City, which is, perennial baseball power in 7A. And we handled ourselves extremely well and beat Central Phoenix City at their place. It obviously helps when you have Brady on the mound. But, for us as a, 5A Elberta high school, nobody really knows about us too much, to go to Central Phoenix City and just have a showing like that. It was really, I think, that point where the kids were like, man, we can compete with anybody if we play like this. So, if I had to point to one, that's probably the biggest. And then I think that Demopolis game too just really showed them that, if they keep scrapping and fighting, they're going to be in any game they're in. if they do what they're supposed to do and play like they're capable of.
And Coach, I'm gonna throw this to the guys here in a second. So you just said a lot of people, don't know who Alberta is. You would be surprised when he posted you guys the other day how many people were asking where Alberta was. Somebody asked if you were in Canada. So a lot of people don't know where they are, where you guys are. But do you think it's fair to say now people should know where you guys are as I make the semifinal run?
Well, I mean, not to be, overly confident or anything like that, but yeah, I think so. I think these kids have gained that respect. It's not very often that teams get to go to the semifinals of the playoffs. So I think they have kind of, this senior group and that junior group that have been with us all year long on the varsity level have definitely put themselves on the map.
And I'm gonna start with Brady. So Brady, I've seen you personally do it, but you're one of those fiery leaders. You get emotional, and it's emotional in a great way. And like Coach Davis just said, Alberta's kind of one of those names that people kind of wrote off. You are hosting St. Paul, who is one of the bigger names in the state traditionally in all sports. And what have you guys been, talking about this week at practice? And what has y'all's message been to each other about this series coming to Alberta tomorrow night?
Just have another week of practice with the boys. That's what it's mainly been. Just, I mean, as much as college baseball is cool and all, I mean, I get to go continue my athletic career. I don't want high school to end. I mean, I've been playing with them, some of them since, the start of baseball, since I was 3. I don't want it to end, for sure. I mean, just keep going till the end.
And Jackson, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is y'all's mentality kind of going into this week? And what is the message being just around practice? And I'm just going to talk about the emotion coming around this week. I know it has to be a fun time at practice.
Yeah, I think we've kind of gone into every week of playoffs, not worrying about who we're playing and just preparing ourselves to play our game. We know that we can compete with anybody. And so trusting each other in that and, letting the coaches handle the scouting for us and stuff like that. We know that they'll have us prepared every week. And so just kind of having a nameless, faceless opponent in front of us and not worrying about who we're playing on Friday, just preparing like it's another week.
I love that answer. That's a great, it's a coach answer, but it's also a mature answer. I like that answer.
That's all of them. That's all of them,
Oh, yeah.
Andrew. That's been their mentality since we started.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it shows when they've been so successful this year. And Coach Jackson kind of led on to it, so I'm going to kind of jump into it. Every coach has a great support staff behind them in the dugout. I know Coach Rusty Henson, I've seen that he's still there. I know he's ecstatic about being there. He's been there since the start of Alberta baseball. But, talk about him just a little bit. Also, some other coaches that you have on your staff that's kind of helped you out this season.
Yeah, like you said, Rusty Henson been a godsend for me. He works with our pitchers, but he sees things, that a lot of people don't see, as far as, little things with swings or, whatever it may be. So he has done a great job, and he's in Jackson's ear, all game with the comm system. Like I said, we're not calling pitches, but we're talking to him, just letting him know, hey, this is what's going on. And but he's just a great baseball guy, and I'm so glad to have him on my staff. And then we've got a new coach this year. He was our head JV coach, but I don't think he missed a single varsity game either. Maybe one that we, just had a scheduling conflict. But Casey Gattinio, this is his first year with us. He's an Elberta kid originally. Obviously didn't play there, but he played at Foley because there was no Elberta high school. And he's brought a little bit different perspective, to kind of support what Rusty and I have been doing as well. And I think he kind of, really jives with the kids, and he's younger than us, obviously. And they kind of look up to him too, and take him, as a second or third head coach, because, it's a group effort when it's a decision that needs to be made, about the game or practice, or even today we're trying to make a decision about, moving moving the game to a different time. And, me and Casey are both at the same school. So me and him are on the phone with Rusty at the same time. We're trying to figure out what's the best decision we can make for our kids. And it's been great. Like we've got a routine now, especially playoff wise, where, it's like clockwork now. So, we're hoping to get one more week out of it and give these kids a chance to play for a state championship for their town and their school.
And Coach, I know you got some spaghetti on the stove, so I'm gonna start trying to wrap it up here. I'm gonna start with the guys down below, and I'm gonna try to I'm gonna single you out just a little bit. So Brady, this is your last home game or last home series at Elberta. What is your message to the fans and the students about tomorrow night? And what is your message to get? There's people in Elberta that have not seen y'all play this year. What is your message to get them there tomorrow night?
Be loud. Be loud. Just I feel like that was the biggest factor, especially in the Marbury series. I mean, they were just loud. I mean, it was crazy. I didn't think the little town of Elberta had that many people, but I don't think we're little after what Marbury saw it. That we weren't little. So just be loud.
Jackson, what about you?
Yeah, I think that everybody should just show up, come watch some baseball. If you haven't yet, come support us. And like Brady said, be loud. We're going to put ourselves out there and play for the guy next to us. So come out and watch.
And Coach, I'm going to ask you the same thing, but also I just want to speak on it just a little bit about the community support, because Elberta, they're known for it. And I saw the pictures of the game at Demopolis. I know it's going to be twice as big tomorrow night. But some of the community support and what's your message to be to the fans that will be there and some that might need to get there to be able to see this historic game in Elberta?
Yeah, I think the word's out. It's been all over social media. And we've had incredible support. It's always been that way since I've been at Elberta, especially from parents and family. But the big difference this year has been our students, and our teachers, honestly. They last week, we played Friday at Marbury. We had two teachers. One of them drove the bus. One of them was chaperoning, and they brought 40 kids up to watch and support our kids on Friday. And then again on Monday, two buses came. I think there was about 65 kids from our school that rode those buses. And I'll be honest, like Brady and Jackson said, it was a huge difference in the game. It really felt like a home game for us. So I know they're going to show up, so I don't have to ask them to show up tomorrow. I know they're going to be there. They've been talking about it all week. And I think there's some people in the community too that maybe haven't seen us they know about it. They just, haven't made it out yet. But I think it's going to be a pretty big crowd there tomorrow.
And Coach, it's a pleasure having you on. Speaking to you again, always a pleasure to have the Elberta guys on. Jackson and Brady, good luck tomorrow. And this one, the game was moved to 1 o'clock. I'll be there for game 2, not game 1. Hopefully catch the end of it. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck to you. And hopefully y'all get to try to go chase that blue map next weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Andrew.
Thank you. And everybody watching, thank y'all for tuning in. This was Inside the Program with Coach Owen Davis, Jackson Howard, and Brady Harrison. You're watching Powerhouse Sports, and we'll see y'all next time.